What's up, everybody? How are you? Oh man, it's Monday, uh, October 10th. Got to make sure I've been kind of running. Malika and I've been running all over the city. So with that, we've just been doing our thing, and I just wanted to come out and start off early. I know the doctor's coming in, which is going to be a great show. She has stuff to say to you. And first, I just wanted to get the announcements out the way. Um, you know, Real Talk, sponsored by Salt Illusions Art Gallery, the Deadly Arts and Survival magazine, Ingram Taxes, Melba Wilson, Leon Ellis, Reggie Wells, Quality Speakers. And how are you doing? Hope everybody's having a good time. We're still trying to get this thing situated between uh, Facebook and Instagram, and not Instagram, excuse me, Facebook and YouTube. So we will be doing all of that. And without further ado, I see the doctor is in the building. Let me bring her in and see if she's ready to chop it up with you. Doc, what's
Hey,
going on?
hey.
How
Hi.
are you?
I'm okay. I'm still in my office. We did. Hey, look, today, whatever that holiday they tried to say it was called get your health check, get seen. Forget that Columbus Day mess. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I'm Dr. Corder.
I see
Hi.
a lot of people get the days, and I think they've changed the name up to, it was it Indigenous Day.
Yeah.
So we can definitely respect that and understand that and know why. Doc, there's so much going on in the world, and we don't have enough time to talk about so many things. And of course, whatever you want to talk about tonight, but I know we talked about maybe breast cancer awareness. It is breast cancer
Hmm.
awareness month, but
Hmm.
we just mental illness, the crime is crazy with people doing things just out of control. But how are you doing otherwise? First and foremost, let's find out how you're doing.
I was in New Jersey. I was in Atlantic City this past weekend. And it was interesting. It was about um health and wellness in a natural way, and we got to talk to quite a few people in reference to we just have to begin to take our health into our own hands and just not rely on any and everything that, believe it or not, the doctors are saying, but also understand what's going on in your body. Now,
Hmm.
this is breast cancer month, and you know what's interesting, a total of 1 in 8 females in the United States will develop breast cancer of some type. And but there's certain groups, risk groups, of course, here we go. For instance, we diagnosis of breast cancer in non-Hispanic, white, or black individuals, we talking about twice that many. And unfortunately, um, we don't survive as much. From 2012 to 2018, so that's a group of 5 years, 6 years, more than 90% of females with breast cancer survival for at least 5 years receiving their diagnosis. Well, it turns out that's fine, but if you carve take that number out, more than 50% of the ones that died, that succumbed to the breast cancer, was women of color.
Mm.
So we are seeing breast cancer more. Like, I know in the past 40 years that I've been practicing medicine, I say in the past 15 years, it has been a huge risk, a huge number of individuals, young and old, who are being diagnosed with breast cancer. And why is that? Environmental, things that we now begin to do that we didn't do for years. And it's hard to say. Some of it's genetic, but here's some statistics. So the rate of breast cancer new cases per 100,000 people. So this is how we map it out. Um, so let me just preface this, with the exception of white females. Okay, so I'm not going to talk. Okay, with exception, this is not we're excluding out the white females. They get it, but I'm going to tell you different. Black
Hmm.
females are more likely to receive a breast cancer diagnosis than those belonging to other ethnic groups. So here are the stats. All right, for non-Hispanic black females, 129 per 100,000, and that's us. The Asian, Hispanic American, and Alaskan natives, they have it kind of bad too. It's 110 per 100,000. And then the Hispanic females is 99 per 100,000. So I'm going to say of all the groups of folks of color, we get hit harder. And we're not sure why. When I say that, I think that the reason we die sooner is because we don't have the access, the wherewithal, or even the guts, or the and I hate to say the guts, but we're scared. We might feel a lump, and I've done so many shows on breast cancer, with so many survivors, and then some that did not survive, but their stories were told, and many women, unfortunately, will say they don't want to get cut, or what would their mate say if they get a mastectomy? I'm like, well, did they marry the breast or did they marry the brain? It's like it's hard, and you got to talk to them. And psychologically, there's cancer, and that's in and of itself an adjustment. And then if you're telling me I have to get rid of my breast, then that's me. That's my whole, that's me. But it's not, because I tell so many of them, as many of my friends who've had bilateral mastectomy, be it they got new breasts or not, they're alive. They're talking about it. They're 10, 20, 30 years living. So, and everybody has their individual walk, but some people, because they did not want to have that surgery, are no longer with us. So I'm going to stop talking. I'll let some folks ask questions, and I'm here to discuss it.
Yeah, that's a great point that you made. I was looking at something on the news, and they were saying that, co-signing all the stats that you just laid out. And they also said another problem for that was healthcare too. I think people of color don't have the proper healthcare, and it might be like another thing, being scared to go find out if something is wrong with you. So people, please, whatever you think, go check it out, because don't diagnose yourself. That's the worst thing you can do. We're not talking about a little cold or something, a little cough, where you can get something, ginger tea or something. Let's be real about this. You said something too that made a great point about women not wanting to get their breasts, removed, and it's similar to like men with prostate cancer. The last thing that a man would want is not to have his gun loaded. You know what I'm saying? And my father, your uncle, he our uncles, both of our uncles.
I know my other uncle. Yes.
Procrastinated with prostate cancer. So I guess the moral of my story is, please, no matter what it is, just get yourself checked out. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your co-host with my host, Dr. Marilyn Corder, tonight, and we're talking about breast cancer. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Remember, I told you all, please try to catch us more on YouTube now. There's some Facebook changed up a lot of their things, so some people might be seeing us from Facebook, but you definitely will always see us on YouTube. So understand that, and I'll probably repost the link later so you can get all this vital information. If you have questions, please write them in. Stefania said, I think that one's diet is closely related to their health. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, it's interesting. Hi, Stefania. Diet, and also personal habits. I'm going to mention a few things. I did this big talk about 8 years ago. Hopefully I saved some lives. Guess what is also related to, now follow me, and anatomically, what's also related to causing cancer, which also contains formaldehyde, which is the hair products, the straightening and the smoothing products that we, people of color, been using, contains formaldehyde, and even some soaps and lotions. And they have been associated, according to the MD Anderson Cancer Center, of causing cancer. So we have to be careful of what we're using. Now, many people get their nails done. They get the gel, they get all that. Guess what's in that? Polyethylene, polyoxyethylene, parabens. Some people, parabens. Now, if you want to get your nails done, get the natural non-cancer producing nail polish and take that to the nail salon. Now, anatomically, our nails, okay, these are my natural nail polish. I don't do the poly whatever, all the things you can't pronounce. But remember where your breast starts. It starts in your axillary, in your armpits. So the hand, this what we call the lymphatics. There's something called lymphatics, drain from your hand up into your armpits. And if you're having toxic chemicals always on your nails and your nails are porous, that means that there are small openings in your nails. So that continuous ongoing bombardment of these agents, toxic agents, are in your body, going up your arm into the breast tissue. So watch those nail polishes, please. The other thing is the perms and the chemicals in your hair. You have to be careful of that. Now, I can't tell folks what to do with their body, but I'm just trying to educate folks and understand these are issues that and relations that we see that can cause cancer. She's right, Stefania's right. The foods that we eat, causes a lot of things from cancer to colon, also all cancers. And we have to be careful what we put in our bodies because it can lay dormant and be toxic. But for right now, the breast cancer, I'm gonna tell you what else. And this is, I hope I don't step on toes in a few minutes. So your breast starts in your axilla, your armpits. And I remember the days way before we had antiperspirant. I'm gonna date myself. We had just deodorant, Tussie, the deodorant that meant you sweat. You would sweat. And we even had these. I remember my mom having those shields. It was called armpit shield. It was like pads that you had, and you put around yourself, and it would be like a little, I guess, a pad, and they were cotton, and that would catch the sweat, so your sweat won't be coming out in a big outline. It was okay to sweat, folks. It's okay to sweat. That's detoxifying. But when we came out with the antiperspirant, pay attention. 99% of deodorant has antiperspirant. You want the one that doesn't. You want the one that lets you sweat. Okay? And we started shaving. And then right after we shave, what do? We put that antiperspirant deodorant right up under those open pores. And wow, it's in your body. Antiperspirant. That's like battery material. You could charge your car up with that. The aluminum. So ongoing joke with us in medicine. Of course, after people get breast cancer, that's when they start doing the regular deodorant, not the antiperspirant, or even the crystal. So our sisters over in the mother country, we'll say often they don't use deodorant, unfortunately. Right. But guess what? Their rate of breast cancer was none to nil until they came over here and got Americanized. So there's something about sweating. Be a little funky, but be alive, okay?
You don't mind me being a little funky.
Okay.
No, okay. I do. No, but listen, but you know what's so funny? We are so vain, Doc, that is, I'm sure that is a problem. And like what you're saying, because once you had mentioned this, I don't know if it was last year, you had mentioned something in one of the shows, and Malika went out and bought the Toms or something.
I'm going to show you what I bought.
Yeah, the Toms.
And she was like, that shit ain't working.
Right. It's a little rough. It's because it's a little rougher. But I'm going to tell you, I've seen more irritated axilla, and I'm just going to put with secret degree. Yeah, there we go. There you go. And see, that'll save you, because that'll save you. Okay, you may smell a little musty sometimes, but that'll save you.
Yeah. Or you're just gonna have to double up on it.
That's right. That's right. Because some of these things called degree, they say last for 2 days, 3 days. Well, guess what? If that's the case, then what concentration is that of the antiperspirant that you are putting in your body that's going up that armpit into your breast? Next thing, you're gonna feel a lump. And sometimes, as we talk about symptoms, the new lump in your breast or in your armpit. That's, you got to understand, your breast starts in your armpits. That's where you start. That's where when you do a breast exam, you got to go up in the armpit. Okay. Better known as the axilla. Of course, swelling of your breast. So any lump is a lump that shouldn't be there, and get it evaluated. Swelling of the breast. That's not good. Dimpling of the skin of the breast. Now, sometimes people don't even recognize, look at your breast, see what's going on. If you see a dimpling, then that is called, it's a special cancer that causes that. And it causes retraction of the skin. And it's kind of like a magnet. It pulls the tissue in. Then, of course, breast pain or nipple pain, discoloration or flakiness around the skin of the nipple retraction all of a sudden. So that means the nipple is being pulled inward. Again, can be related to a cancer. Then nipple discharge. You are not supposed to be having a nipple discharge other than breastfeeding. If you're 60 years old and all of a sudden your nipples are having a discharge, that you're not anti-aging. That's not breast milk. That's serious. Get checked.
Yeah, your name ain't Mary,
Right, exactly,
you
know. exactly. And Black females tend to get breast cancer much sooner and younger than our white counterparts. So you cannot say, oh, but she's too young. I had a patient, 22 years old, ended up having bilateral breast cancer. She had a bilateral mastectomy. She's a successful pharmacist. She's in her 30s. Matter of fact, she's a friend of my daughter's. But she had breast cancer. So if you waited, she wouldn't have been alive. One good tip for those, some people say, well, why Black people get cancer? Well, some of it's genetic. Access to healthcare is one. Health insurance coverage, healthcare discrimination. Okay. But also, we don't tend to breastfeed. I'm going to emphasize. No matter what social economic, Black women don't tend to breastfeed. And I don't know what that's all about. I know when that formula shortage came out, I was saying, you know what? 90% of my mothers breastfeed because I be on them. I said, that's my law. If you're going to be in my practice, you better breastfeed. So some of them like, oh, thank you, Dr. Porter. Thank you, Dr. Porter. But when you breastfeed, that decreases your chances significantly of getting breast cancer. Can you imagine? My kids saved me, okay? Because I nursed Fred till he was almost 3.
Yeah. But it's so funny that, I mean, it's a shame, and this is why I think I always tell people, please share these posts, these shows, these podcasts, because there isn't anyone besides yourself when you do the Village Voice that are giving out this information. We worried about what the rapper is saying or the blog, who did what in the industry, acting or music, but nobody knew that. I didn't know that until now. That you just said that about. Women having these kind of issues and stuff, because the woman's body is so sensitive to so many different parts that you have to worry about: the breast, the nipples. Like you said, if a woman's getting certain kind of discharge from her nipple, like that's something to pay attention to. Also, too, Vivian said, I breastfed all 3 of my children. That's what's up. Stefania said, in 2022, we have access to free helpful info. So we just have to do better because the information is out there. Also, too, Doc, give out your email, because Vivian has a question. I know she reached out to me over the weekend about her back. She had back problems, and I know she wanted to reach out to you in regards to just getting your take on some stuff. Because Vivian, so Doc.
Want me to give it now?
You can give it now. Go ahead, Vivian. Listen up. Go ahead.
My email is real simple. It's dr as in doctor, a period. So it's dr dot, and then you put number 4, the figure 4, doctor dot for teens, TEENS, doctor dot for teens at yahoo.com, and just email me and write your questions down or comments or what have you.
And mention it. You mentioned, you saw on Real Talk, so that way she knows that this is not just somebody just asking questions out of the blue air. Shout out to everybody that's chiming in, coming in. Which, like I said, please watch us more on YouTube now. Like I said, we're trying. Malika and I, and Malika more than me, is trying to definitely work out these kinks with Facebook. They changed out some things.
It's on there now.
It's on there
Facebook now. So
good.
Just one little tweak, but it's just streaming differently. But it's all good.
Yes.
We'll keep spreading the word.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So. Any questions, please ask the doctor. Ladies, don't be shy. Men too. I think we talked about it last year. You said men can get breast cancer too, correct?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I just had a teenager. Fortunately, it came out negative. He had a breast mass. And I'm like, what? And he didn't tell his mother. He's like, he's 20. And I'm looking at, because I checked breast. I don't care if girl or boy, you're going to get a breast exam. And when I checked him, it was like an irregular mass. And I'm like, what is this? And he said, oh, yeah. And the mother's like, what? when I brought her in the room, she said, he didn't tell me how long it's been there, about 6 months. So I sent them to the breast specialist that I send, my female patients, and they had to do a mammogram, and, they did certain things. Turns out it's non-benign. It's benign. It's not cancerous, but men get breast cancer too. We have some families, that, we call it genetic markers, genetic testing. So some people don't understand what that's all about. The two most common gene mutations that doctors test for, please write this down or make a note. It's called the BRCA1, BRCA2, BRCA1, BRCA2. That's the most common two. It's like I have a cousin whose sister, she had cancer. The sister had cancer. She's an in-law cousin, but she's my cousin. And then her daughter, and then two other cousins, and then her daughter just got her test for the BRCA. But there are other genetic mutations that we look for. And there's a list of them. Matter of fact, one of them is called ATM. But, it's like a list of them. ATM, then there's one that's CDH1, PALB2. But here's what needs to happen. We need to understand that we have challenges right now in health, women's health. We know what the Supreme Court has done. We need to make sure that if ever there's a time that we take a stand, we need to go in your doctor's office and say, write a prescription or referral, whatever you call it, for me to get a mammogram, for me to get the genetic test. I don't care if you've never had anybody with cancer. You may be the first one. We call mutation. And you want to, sometimes the mammogram, depending upon the density of your breast, sometimes the mammogram won't tell you everything. And you have to do it's like an ultrasound, so that they can see. Especially women of color have something called fibrocystic breast. And that's because we're so fertile. The little, I call them a little cyst in our breast, is similar to fibroids of our uterus. So sometimes many of us, I know I have fibrocystic breast tissue. You may not be able to see the cancer with a regular mammogram. If it's there, you need to have a sonogram. I'm going to say this 3 times in the show. Women of color are about 40% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women. They are also more likely to develop breast cancer at an earlier age. All right.
Wow.
40% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women. Now, white women get cancer. Something about us, when we get breast cancer, we get it. And it's younger. And as I mentioned, we know of folks less than 30 years old. So, but we're afraid. And we're afraid if you have a lump, many women, as I do some of the shows, and I have survivors, and then I have folks, we tell their story if they're no longer here, but they wait too late. They don't want to hear the news. No one wants to hear bad news. But if hearing that news sooner can save your life, then you need to go and get a support group. You don't go by yourself, get a support group, and they'll go with you and work it through. And then you have your life, and then you don't have to, find out that you waited too long.
What's so funny? I know you're about to say something. Like Tracy, shout out to everybody who's watching. Colin, well wishes to you. I see my man Lenny Green is in the building. Appreciate you, LG. We got to get you back on the show. This would have been a good show one time. We got to get you back with the doc. Last time you saw the doc, we was in the doc's house. Yeah. So Tracy said women also have to learn to advocate for themselves regarding your care, and don't hesitate to ask questions. Don't hesitate to get a second opinion too. But what's so funny, Doc? You said something also about support groups that I think is very important. Malika and I was at a wedding, and I saw I call them my tier ones, guys that have known me since I was 10 years old. And we were just talking how the evolution of our friendship has changed and just maturity. And, what we talked about at 10 is not what we talk about at now, because now we're talking about, are you going to the doctor? What's going on with your health issues and stuff like that? And you said something about a support group. I think, let me ask you a question. I don't know if you really know this, but maybe this is just your opinion, your personal opinion or factual. Do people of color act like they don't want to tell the other person, oh, I'm sick or I got something wrong with me? Like we're stuck on that, oh, I don't want nobody to know my business kind of mentality. You know, what's your thoughts on that?
You know it. We see it in our family. You know
Yeah.
it. Now I
Yeah.
think probably the younger people are coming around, but it's a stigma, and especially cancer. And people kind of retreat and go under a rock, and they got cancer. They don't want to tell, or even they check their breast. See, this is another thing. Y'all got to check your breast. Yeah. You got to check your breast. I know you let your boyfriends check your breast, but you got to do your breast, okay? And a lot of times, the men, your partner, whoever it is the one that finds the lump because they all over you. Okay, well, you need to know your breast too. For those who don't have a significant other or so, you need to know what's normal and what's not normal. And when you go to the doctor, just in case they don't know, they don't know how. If you don't know how to check, make sure that you get a tutorial. And the best time to check your breast is not when you're on your cycle. It's and you're not on your cycle either in the shower or when you're laying down. And you have to go through the entire surface. That's starting from up on the arm. I'm not going to go through a breast exam here on Facebook, but you need to know you can pull it up on the computer, and it goes through step by step, because often you save your own life by feeling that lump. And don't rely on mammograms. We got some folks, and we kind of talk about it at length on the show. We got some folks who have had negative mammogram. Negative is a good word in medicine, but they had cancer. And they went further to say something is not right. Mammogram's fine, normal, but let's do this lump. Let's find out what's going on. Let's do a sonogram. So again, we see it. This is breast cancer month, but every day we're getting hundreds of women diagnosed with breast cancer. And I don't know if you are aware of Planned Parenthood, all of those different centers that are now closing because, they can't do terminations of pregnancy. They also did women's health. They were the hub of many young people who didn't have insurance, and they pay on a sliding scale, and they would do breast exams. They check it's women's health. So we're losing a lot of those already. It was limited. So now we're losing a lot. So it's just that now we have to begin to stand up and help our nieces and cousins and granddaughters and daughters and seniors. You're going to get breast cancer even if you're 70 or 80 years old.
Wow. Everybody, this is Real Talk. That's Dr. Marilyn Corder. And you got the Forsters. If you don't know our name by now, then shame on you. That's Malika and I'm Bill. Shout out to Jacob Ingram and one of our sponsors in the building, Ingram Taxes also, and the Deadly Arts of Survival magazine. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out to everybody that's chiming in from Facebook or YouTube. Remember, we have to move a lot more over to YouTube right now because, like I said, Facebook changed up some things that is making it more difficult for us to put this out here. But it's all good. But listen, positivity is what we do. We work on good energy. I see you, Melvin. What's up, Rich? Colin has a question. I just want to make a statement too. Vivian said, my hands are my boyfriend. I get it, Vivian. She said, you got to check. You know what I'm saying? You really do. And it is, it's not a shame. And also too, I want to just jump back on the men for a minute, because men have made so much in their life of lifting weights and building up their chests for the women and the arms. And now as they've gotten older, they have the men boobs. I don't know too many men that don't have of stature or body that don't have a structured or pronounced chest. And that's something, like you said, maybe you have to reiterate that again, Doc, that, men have to get themselves checked out too. Just don't think it's flab anymore.
Right. Interesting. Marijuana, smoking weed gives you breast, guys. It's called gynecomastia.
Wow.
Yeah. So
see, look at that.
So it is what it is. I know it's legal, and I love marijuana is a natural. It's better than cigarette smoking and alcohol. But don't be surprised if your breast size get a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and see, people, I'm sure nobody else knew that. Did you know? I don't know.
Now, guess what? Now, ladies, that doesn't mean you're gonna go from a cup size A to a D. It doesn't affect us. It's the guys, okay? Now, the guys may be smoking, and their breasts may get bigger than y'all, you good ladies. But
talk about what's happening. I see you, Melvin. Colin said we must never claim sickness and be able to advocate for your health situation. I always tell folks, I have a situation and I'm taking care of it with my doctor. Shout out. I see you, Rich, in the building. He said, "What's up, baby face and Tony?" Vivian said, "Yes, a real dear friend went 1 year for her mammogram. And supposedly she was cleared. 1 year later, she went and was told she had breast cancer. She was devastated." Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
We saw an increase in breast cancer through COVID because the annual checkups and mammograms, everything was shut down. So by the time folks began to come out and get their routine exams, etc., many a time that little small lump or stage 1 or whatever went into another level and another degree of breast cancer. So COVID did more than just killing folks from COVID.
You know, I mean, it's a shame that 1 month has to be highlighted, but breast cancer is every day, every month.
Right.
And you know, what is happening? I know we talked about the points of, insurance, but how do we instill this in women of color's heads that they are more prominent to get it than other nationalities?
We in denial and we don't, it's not going to happen to me, or I don't want to know about it if it's going to happen. And some of the things that we say and not do, it kills us. And just like with COVID, I mean, it's just some things that we see the significant increase in the diagnosis, late diagnosis. All right. But when you think back or when you talk to that individual, she will say, and I'm talking about females now with breast cancer, she will say, "Well, yeah, I had this lump for a while, thought it would go away. I didn't think a thing of it." Or, in all honesty, I didn't want to hear it if it was cancer. And, because then I have to leave my job, I have to have surgery. I'm going to talk about the modalities and treatment in a few minutes. So it's you put your head in the sand too long, that sand's gonna bury you.
Right. You got any questions, babe? Because I mean, this is some things that hit everybody's home.
It definitely does. My experience and some of the things you've been saying, I've actually lived. 4 years ago, mammogram, came back and they said, "Oh, we think we see something, so we have to do a sonogram." And did the sonogram. It's like, "Oh, we just need to just double check this." And so I had to have a biopsy done. And I have to tell you, that was not the most, but one of the most nerve-wracking things, because I just didn't know what to expect. But I'm a big reader, I'm definitely not afraid to ask questions. And I jumped right on it. So, I mean, thankfully, it came back negative. They were benign, but, because my breast tissue is so dense, it's hard for them to see. So every year, at first it was every 6 months, but every year it's like clockwork. I have to get both the mammo and the sonogram clockwork. So, it's just about knowing your body, and if something doesn't feel quite right, or if you have family history, especially, that will increase the chance of, it could be something. But the main thing is just to stay on top of it. And, knowledge, educating yourself about whatever the topic is, it helps to reduce that fear. It does. So,
yeah. And I'm asking, it's hereditary. Is it hereditary?
A lot of it is. So if you have one, and as a geneticist, I can touch on that. You have a cousin, a mother, an aunt, who have had a diagnosis of breast cancer. You want to not walk, run to get your mammogram. Yep. So yes, there is hereditary components of some of the breast cancers. Yes.
Yep. Wow. So yeah, it's interesting, but it's all about spreading the word. And nowadays I'm not afraid to ask my girlfriends, "Hey, did you go get your mammogram done?" You get your breast check. You can't wait. You got to do it. So
yeah, please, everybody, like I said, change your conversation. Speak to people. When you talk to people that you care about, I mean, you can talk to anybody, but I mean, a lot of times some people, it's not just water cooler conversation. You know, I mean, this conversation of, hey, what's going on? You know, when some people like men, colonoscopies, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's just so many different things that people have to check up on. That things change your body, they alter who you are for reasons unknown to us. Like you said, the medical field, doctor's been doing this 40 years. She can just help you and lead you to the path. You know what I'm saying, Doc? Like, I mean, we are blessed to have a cousin that's a doctor. You know what I'm saying? And knowing how badly she, you know, she's busy all the time. So I so appreciate her for being here, helping Real Talk us go.
Yeah, I'm also curious. I'm always curious about ways to prevent things, especially for someone who has it in their family history, or not, but could potentially be prone to it. So we know, use natural deodorants. Don't be afraid to be a little funky.
That's right. That's right.
It's all right. They won't die, hopefully, from the funk.
Yeah.
But
Too. Yeah.
So just like, I'm always curious to know if there's anything else that a person can do to prevent or help reduce that risk of getting breast cancer.
Well, I say it all the time. Cancer starts with inflammation. And you want to get natural things. Turmeric. I always still go back to my CBD, which helps decrease inflammation, as it did with my mom, who they said would not even be alive 6 months. She lived for 5 years with her diagnosis. Yeah. And I was giving her CBD, under her tongue before CBD was legal. And her oncologist said, "Oh, what did you do? What are you doing? I've never seen this before." The tumor turned into a ghost tumor. And she was comfortable when she transitioned. So never needed anything, including never needing the hospice stuff and methadone. She was comfortable each and every time and aware. So I say all that to say there are natural things. Yes. Drinking your water, not eating toxic food. Some people say, and not in your case, but some people, I have 2 oncologist friends of mine who said, if you're overweight, that increases chances of cancer, including breast cancer. Go figure. Okay. So if we haven't lost that weight yet, let's lose it so we won't be getting breast cancer. Think about that. That's an incentive.
Yeah. Hey, Doc, let me ask you a question.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh,
she was talking.
Okay.
No, go ahead. No, but so again, breastfeeding, number 1. Number 2, watching those toxins, watching those things that we put on our nails, watching those things that we put on our arms, watching those things that we drink in alcohol, smoking cigarettes, anything that decreases your cilia, different things in your system that causes inflammation can lead to breast cancer. Now, funny enough, not funny, but oddly enough, we seeing it much early. So what we now have to do in the medical community is to advocate for mammograms to be done before 50. Because often you have people say, "Oh, I went to my doctor asking for a mammogram." They say, "Oh no, you're too young." Well, no, you're not. 40-year-olds die. Look at Black Panther. He didn't get his colonoscopy. He got cancer in his 30s. Colon cancer. So there are things that you can fight and say, look, all you have to say, ladies, men, I have it in my family, and I know you're not going to deny, and have them put that in your record. And then tell them you can't get a mammogram. Yes, you can. And you need to go back every year. Because one thing about breast cancer, it can metastasize. Metastasize meaning it doesn't just stay in your breast. No. It's about breast cancer, especially in women of color, is fast to go into what we call the advanced stage, much more often than breast cancer in white women. And something about it, it's just like it's there, and it's like, okay, we're gonna be here, and then we're gonna go to your lungs, and these are the common sites, the lungs. So you can have breast cancer that spreads to your lungs. Go figure, right there anatomically. Also, the brain. You can have metastasis to the brain, the liver. Most common places are the liver and the bones. So it can spread. And how does it spread? It spreads through the blood and the lymphatics. The lymphatics. Remember I told you about the fingernail polish, etc., going up your arms and the lymphatics. So as a result, cancer can develop in other areas of your body months or even years after the initial diagnosis of breast cancer. That's why you need to get it done, get it treated. About 30% of all women diagnosed with early stage breast cancer will develop cancer in other areas of their bodies. I'm going to repeat that because sometimes we feel, even in the medical field, that early stage breast cancer, we get rid of that, you're fine. But 30% of those women who actually had cancer early stage, we're seeing cancer in other areas of your body. And so you want to do a PET scan. There's a special test that you do, and that's your whole body exam. And it's a PET scan to make sure that you're not missing other areas that may pop up 5 years later, 2 years later, or even 10 years later.
Wow. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Dr. Marilyn Corder. This is Real Talk with Dr. Marilyn Corder. And tonight we are the Forsters. So we appreciate you. Listen, if you don't do anything, share this information. Shout out to the people that's chiming in. My sister Chicky, we see you, Marlene, and just all the family, ladies. If you can do anything, I always ask, to come to the brunch parties. It's so irrelevant to this. Just share this information from YouTube to your page so other women can watch it. Because a lot of times what we see is that people view things in the past, and that's fine, but it has to be shared. We as people, we share gossip, but we don't share positive information. So always thanking the doc for putting her doing her due diligence and sharing information with us. Also, let me just read some comments. You want to read what Latrice said, sweetie?
Latrice said, we also need to keep our annual physical appointments. We have allowed our busy lives to cause us to unknowingly neglect ourselves and put off or continually reschedule appointments. So true,
Yeah.
Latrice.
Like Chicky said, she says, hey, love the topic and the education. Shout out to everybody that's giving back the positive energy on the feedback. I'll read Tracy and then you can read Vanessa. Tracy says, I'm in the medical field and there are those doctors that tend to suggest treatments that have been known to work for the majority. You also want to take in consideration your quality of life. What do you feel about that, Doc? Makes sense, right? Because I guess maybe she's talking more about people of color or something,
So, all right. So, the treatment, we're talking about treatment now. So the treatment, after you identify the lump or the bump or what have you, you also need to then understand what is the best treatment. And everybody's treatment is personal to them. You'll hear about folks who they had a lump in one breast and the other breast was fine, but they will elect to do a bilateral mastectomy, take both breasts off, because often that second breast is coming along too in terms of cancer. So sometimes we could be aggressive. Now the one part of that statement that she made, quality of life. Okay, so let's say this person has late stage breast cancer. What do you do about that? I mean, there are times they still can do surgery, but they might also, of course, do chemo. That's kind of rough. You can die from chemo, as well as radiation, to try to simmer down the aggressiveness of the cancer cells. And it's all, like I said, I say it's individualized. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't believe in lumpectomies. I mean, you all can throw dots at me or whatever. I don't believe. When you have a lump and it's already cancer, be aware that lumpectomy, even when they go beyond the margin. So let's say you got a pea size or a bean size cancer, and that's a lump that they feel. Then they have elected a lot of places, at least 10, 15 years ago, we can just take that out, Miss Jones. We'll take it out and we'll cut beyond where it is. Well, let's say if there's nuclei and then so many centimeters beyond that. And then they have to check the lymph nodes to make sure they haven't spread. But cancer is tricky. And I say that because it doesn't raise its head until it raises its head. Okay. You don't know it's there, but it could be there.
Right.
And even PET scans. So if you already see a malignant cancer lump, don't do a lumpectomy. Just go ahead and do a mastectomy. And they have many prostheses. Like, I've seen folks, first of all, I have seen people with reconstruction. Reconstruction meaning that they may have had a bilateral mastectomy, and at the same time on the table, the plastic surgeon friends of mine give them new breasts, better than what they had. Okay,
Yeah.
and they're looking good. Most of my friends who have had total reconstruction, they're like, "Look at my breasts. Look at my breasts."
Right.
And, and I'm loving it. And there's some that says, "I don't want breasts. Give me my flat chest. I'll wear, it's like a bra that, feel like you have breasts." My mother-in-law, she had a bilateral mastectomy, and she said, "I don't need no breasts. My husband dead." So, so it all depends and it's personalized, but the quality of life. So I've had folks who now are 20 years, 30 years, yeah, out, survival, doing fine. But yet I've had some folks who didn't want to have surgery or what have you, not even a lumpectomy, and have succumbed, or waited so late and have succumbed. So chemo and radiation is rough. Surgery is rough, but you got to weigh it out individually. And let's say it's somebody who's 80 years old. What are you going to do? Does it come up with breast cancer?
Knock it off.
The surgery could kill you. So it's individualized. So I appreciate that caller. Because again, just like with any cancer, it's individualized. My mom, when she got her diagnosis, she was already in her 80s, and the doctor said, "Well, you can do comfort care, and you can, keep her comfortable, and she'll die peacefully in 6 months. Or we could be aggressive, radiation and chemo, and that might still give her a couple months." Because the doctor said, "Well, even with that, 6 months." Well, I did radiate. Mommy said, "Go for the goal," and I did. We did radiation and chemo and weed.
Yeah, a little culmination of stuff.
That's exactly. Like natural things, and she lived 5 years. The quality of life was wonderful. Memory was wonderful. So, you gotta, everybody has their own ingredients to put into that pie.
Yo, it's so crazy. Everybody, that's Real Talk. That's Dr. Marilyn Corder, and we are the forces. This is Real Talk with Dr. Corder. Malika, I'll let you get that one. I'm just gonna read Tracy's. And also, Tracy said, "Yes, thank you for saying that, doctor, regarding the lumpectomy." Yeah, thank you. She says, "You all can." They say you can do chemo, and then they want you to do radiation as a precautionary measure. I guess there's always something that they say. I mean, I guess I don't know. I know breast cancer, and when we hear about people and their breasts, I know it's just like I was talking to the doctor before you got here, and it's just I'm assuming it's equivalent to men, because doctor was saying that a lot of times women don't, that's like a man with his private part, you know what I'm saying, his penis. When they get prostate cancer, it was like, "Oh no, I want my gun to always still shoot." But the bottom line is, listen, it's rather to have a gun and it be empty than you know what I'm saying.
It's better to be alive.
Yeah, and that's the key. The point. Want.
I'm gonna read Vanessa's. Vanessa has a question. She said, "Is implementing more greens into our diet and less sugar and less salt a way to reduce our chances of getting cancer?"
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's old school. No matter how modern medicine is, that's old school. There's even something called pot liquor. You're eating the greens, you're doing the natural pot liquor.
That's right. Okay? Yeah.
And absolutely. And we got to go back to that. So many of my patients, I'm pediatrician, they don't eat vegetables. I'm like, what? You can't get from the kitchen table until you eat all your vegetables. Seriously. So, but natural things, because our bodies can fight things, just like our immune system fights things. And unfortunately, we don't have enough in our reserve because we're eating horrible food. You may as well be eating whatever, cardboard, with some of the foods that we're eating. Everything is microwavable and it's cancerous. Okay. So meantime, here we are, we come up with breast cancer. We don't have a fight back. Even in terms of it attacks your body, and then your body's already wilting and weak. So I just, I say this, many people, 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer. and this is across the board, women, 1 in 8. So if you know 80 people, 8 of them will develop breast cancer.
Wow.
It is the most common cancer among women worldwide.
Yeah.
The most common. And again, I said to you guys, it is very important to detect, to get treatment, and to educate. Well, to educate first, so you know. And I am trying to say this nicely, but say it anyway.
Yeah, say it. Just say it. It's real talk. Just say it. Just say it, Doc.
We have to really advocate for ourselves, no matter what who the doctor is, be it whatever. You have a doctor of color that not doing right by you, so you need to find a new doctor, or just say, look, I heard you're supposed to have this and you need to have that. So just make sure you trust your instincts and know that you need to have full care, comprehensive care, and get evaluated and get treated, diagnosed, and then get treated.
I know we have some comments. I want to ask a question, and I'm asking this question because they always say there's no question, there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Mhm.
We know that, you know, during sex in men and women relationships, the breast is a stimulant for men and women. Is there something that too much touching is that anything that would cause or accelerate some kind of cancer? I have no idea. I'm just asking because the bottom line.
Too much or not enough?
What? right. But I'm just you know, sometimes when we say about what can cause or what cannot cause, you know, because we also said earlier in the show, and the reason why I brought that up is because, like you said, ladies, don't let the men be your doctor and finding a lump when he's touching your breast. So the thing is, you know, that doesn't become problematic in the course of sex or relationships, does it, Doc?
No, as a matter of fact, on the contrary, I think that, first of all, remember what I said. Let's connect the dots. A woman who breastfeeds is a woman who does not to decrease in activity, decrease in breast cancer. Now, I know that's not breastfeeding in terms of your boyfriend or whoever, but but in terms of stimulating those what we call the actual breast tissue, it's okay. Hormonally, it's okay. Now, let me say this, all right? And I thought there's people who get breast enlargements or the stuff that they silicone, all that going in your breast, that's a ding, ding, ding increase in breast cancer. Okay. Live with what God gave you. Live with what God gave you. All right. Because some of those spill out, you know, and then you have, you know, one of those silicone, whatever they put in the breast, with all the breast enhancement and breast enlargement, they spill out. And you can imagine what's going on with the breast cells at that point.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, you can read some of the comments.
Yeah, I was just going to read Cheryl's question. Cheryl said, what if you have benign lumps and they don't want to, excuse me, they don't want to give you mammograms because you haven't reached the age they're normally given?
Right. So that's where, whoever that is, Cheryl, that's where you say, okay, I know what the stats are, but guess what? That's old. Anything that's already printed in medicine is old history, old information. You can demand, you could tell them, I don't care. I will fight my insurance company. Do that. And then the fibrocystic breasts, like the breast lumps that people have, many of us of color, you can say, well, you know what? Since I do have cyst in my breast anyway, who's to say a cancer cell, a cancer lump is not hiding behind that?
Right.
So there's ways that you can make sure that you get your mammogram and your insurance pays for it.
I've heard that they also do that, like an MRI for a breast MRI as well.
Yes. And it's all different screening techniques, because again, don't rely on the mammogram being you know, if you still feel something, tenderness, etc., get your mammogram. I mean, get your MRI or your sonogram. Because if there's a question about it, you need to go back and get checked.
Right.
Tracy also said, also asked about trials there are a lot of them and questions that medications they are suggesting. She also says for many, especially African American women, they suggest some of the harsher plans for treatments. Educate yourself, like the doctor said.
Right. That's right.
Mm.
Absolutely.
And you know what's so funny? It's just a shame that it's and like I said, I applaud you and I thank you. And like I said, when we text earlier, I was like, well, it's breast cancer awareness month. Let's, maybe let's but look at all the information that we all are getting educated on, and for all the people that the real talkers that are chiming and saying that hey, listen, it's great information, because there are a lot of people that are sitting there and probably now thinking about, wait a minute, I felt a lump the other day, or I didn't, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Don't be scared to first touch yourself and then go find out what that is, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Everybody,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. Excuse me, not relying on someone else to find it,
yeah.
being proactive.
Everybody, give the doctor some hearts, man. If she's giving you some information that you love to need and want to hear, because you're not getting this information. Some of you are not even probably asking your own personal doctors this. So give her some help. So you're getting this real talk, and we'll see what it is. Doc, there's so much that's going on. This is very informative. Thank you, Dr. Corder. Absolutely. Yeah, please give us some hearts, man. I mean, she's doing this for the love, but the educate. But it's always good to hear somebody say thank you. That's very important.
What?
Like
Nothing.
another friend of ours said, my late grandmother and mother said, always go old school, get them veggies, because you said that earlier too.
Mm-hmm.
Also said, if you have benign lumps and don't want to get mammogram, excuse me, because you haven't reached that age, they're normally given. Is there an age that a person? I'm glad that question came on. Is there an age that somebody should? I know they always talk about men with prostate starting at 40. Is there an age for women to start at any age, or once a
When
lump?
you have, okay, and that we have to kind of address that question before, but I want to add to that. The age is if you want one, okay, and if you feel you need one. Now, of course, so 50. Now I think they're going down to 45 years old. That's part of your routine, get your mammogram, etc. But if you're 20 years old and your grandmother got cancer, breast cancer, and your mother, and it's time for you to say, let me get a mammogram. Okay. And it's called family history. Family history trumps all of the routine screening recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good. Absolutely. We got, maybe if anybody got a couple more questions or statements, and we're going to let the doctor do what she does and go home and be with her
Got to
time.
go home. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. She's my sister Chicky said, just started juicing greens and turmeric to my diet because I don't get enough greens in my system on a daily, and I'm not getting younger. So if you're not getting younger, I'm not getting any younger, sis. Younger. So it's good info to hear about turmeric. Thank you. So
yes.
Doc, your information is so vital and important to people in general. I mean, a lot of times, we spoke highly about what's happening to African American people, but the bottom line is women of all colors have breasts, but we also need understand women of color, please check yourselves out, because it's higher in African Americans, and whatever the topic is, either health insurance, your lack of knowledge, you don't want to ask the questions. Just please, I'm not telling you have to get off the show, go check yourself. But if you have to do that, do it. I mean, when are the times to check yourself, Doc? Like when you're taking a shower and you're cleansing yourself? Is that something that women do?
Or when you sleep, like right before you go to bed, as long as you don't do a breast exam at the time of your cycle. When you're on your cycle, a few days before your cycle, you have we call it hormones that also gives you breast tenderness, especially those who have fibrocystic breasts. So you don't want to check your breast when you're on your period. I've had folks when they come in the office, as I do a breast exam, the first thing I'm going to ask them is, when was your last cycle? When was your last period? And then some people say, what about if I'm on birth control pill? Because that stops ovulation. Well, and that's a good point. I will then say, let's check your breast now and then 2 weeks later, so that you're right, getting it at both times of the hormonal surge from the birth control pills or the hormonal surge from you. There's several types of breast cancer. Of course, we know that. I just want to also emphasize that 43,000 up to 50,000 women die from breast cancer every year. And breast cancer occurs mainly in middle age and older women. I get that. And they'll tell you that the median age at the time of breast cancer diagnosis is 60. But some people are already dead by the time they're 50. So you want to make sure you individualize that. And, they'll say a small number of women in their 40s get cancer. But so many of us know folks who had breast cancer at 30. I had one of my parents of my patient who, she's a survivor, but she was diagnosed. She didn't feel well. And I remember seeing her in the office, and I told her, Renee, you need to get checked. And she ended up going to get checked. And turns out she had chest pain. Turns out she had cancer. Because of that, and she had a bilateral mastectomy. Dr. LaSalle Fall over at Howard. Yay, let's give it up. He transitioned last year, but he was the president of the American Cancer Society. He was everybody's doctor, Lena Horne's doctor, et cetera, right here at Howard.
Right. All right.
But meantime, she got checked. She's like the breast cancer specialist spokesperson. She was in her 30s, late 20s, early 30s. So if she waited these statistics, we would not be talking about Renee walking like still alive. It'll be, oh yeah, remember Renee was alive. So you got to get checked. And of course, she always says, if it wasn't for you, cuz I would have been dead. I'm like, you know what? It's just that we need to share and educate and get checked.
Absolutely. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I love it. We're going to read a few more statements. Vanessa said, clean eating. Did I miss something else? Somebody else. Well, let me go to Vanessa then, and we're going to let the doctor. She said, clean eating, meaning more greens, grains, and proteins. Live food is more healthy. Alkaline water is the new trend to decrease the acidity of the body. These are the things that we can use to reduce our chances of cancer. How do you feel about that? It's good.
Yeah. Well, your body, what you eat is what you are and what you become. And you can be cancer ridden. And there are cancer zone centers, like we call it cancer neighborhoods, with toxins around. And if you eating crazy stuff and you're around the environment that's not the best for you, you're just adding double chances of you getting cancer anywhere, including the breast. But remember, breast cancer is the number one cancer in women.
Also, too, she says, a Facebook watcher, she says, I'm letting my daughters listen in because both of their grandmothers had it and they're in their 20s. That's good information. Yeah. Also, too, let's see where.
Now, also, there are a lot of there are a lot of vans, mammogram. You can ask, like, this is October, rather, the month of breast cancer, but you can find out mammogram van nears you, or wherever you are. And then you can also find out from the hospitals and the health department where you can get a free mammogram.
And before we let you go, I just want to read one more statement. And I'm going to read one more, I guess it's a statement, and then I want to make a statement, but you don't have to answer those. Stefania said, it's also Domestic Violence Month. Does Dr. C have any knowledge she can bestow upon us regarding that topic? We can pick up that next month if you want to, or you can come back in any of the other shows on a Wednesday, or you want to chop it up with that. And also, too, something I want you to think about, and we'll talk about it, and we'll bring it up next month, too. Does fibroids lead into breast cancer?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Okay, good. So that's something definitely. So, Doc, sweetie, if you want something to say, Doc, give us some positive affirmation before we get out of here. Appreciate you. Love you too much. Everybody, if you don't know, Dr. Corder is my cousin, our cousin. So thank you for always being the big cousin, holding little cousin down. I appreciate you. So you want to say anything?
Yeah, David? I think this time, I know time is precious, and we truly appreciate the information that you give, and just look, you're working and talking to us and educating us, and I know I can speak for a lot of the people here that we appreciate you. Like we're clinging to your words,
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
feverishly like taking notes on it.
Yeah,
But knowledge is so important, and being educated. So let's all
yeah. Can you hear us? Doc, you're muted. So
Now,
it seemed like the powers of being trying to push us out of here, you know?
oh no, so I was just talking, I was telling you that men can get breast cancer too. So make sure 25, 2,500 cases of breast cancer a year in men versus 42,000 women. But I was also saying you can go as a group, a women's group, so a support group, and get your mammograms. Many places are doing free mammograms, vans and different health centers and health fairs. So it's time to go ahead and take care of that. So I'm just honored to be able to impart some knowledge, some prevention. There's something called preventive medicine that we seem to get away from so much. And we're just talking about when the fires are raging of different illnesses, we jump in there with our, hose to put it out, whatever our hose is contained in terms of medication. Let's talk about preventive medicine. And this is what we're talking about today, to
Yeah.
prevent and inform. And if indeed you have breast cancer, at least you found out sooner than later. So on that note, I'm dropping the mic. This is Cuz Marilyn McPherson Foster. And hopefully
sending love to you. Thank you.
Doc, tell them where they can listen at you on the weekends or every Saturday.
Yeah, so I'm still oh gosh, I am still doing my thing on Radio 1, Kathy Hughes, every Saturday, WOL 1450 AM, Village Talk with Dr. Corder. And that's Saturday from 3 to 4 p.m. So I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing that. This has been 20 some years, but anyway, right now I'm still on the air. So
Okay, well, I know you can put a little toll on your shoulder, but I appreciate all the times that you give knowledge somewhere, somehow. As long as you ain't ready to give up real talk. Well, yeah, anything else? Doc, I love you, cuz I love you.
love you too.
Exactly.
Love
Don't
you
give up
back.
real talk. I know you about going on our third year, maybe trying to do this, right? Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. So
Yep.
it's a good, like we got some tenure in this. So go ahead, Doc. Get home safe.
Okay.
Tell the family I said hello. We love them.
I
We
will.
shout you out.
Take care.
And we'll close it out
All right.
for you. All right. Love
Thank you.
Everybody give
Bye-bye.
Doc
Love you
some
too.
hearts, man. Give us some hearts, man. Yeah,
Some
exactly.
hearts.
Everybody, please go get yourself checked out. Whatever it is, if you don't feel it, just if it's something that's pertinent right now, just do it annually, right? I guess that's the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it annually. Listen, we're doing what we're doing. Not let anybody put any roadblocks. If there's a door that's locked, we go to another door. We look for a window, or we'll see for something we can climb through. Support us, share it, please share it, subscribe to us.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that way you'll get notified. You won't miss a show. And please spread the word. Absolutely. Bill works very hard to bring on our guests and co-hosts, and also provide, valuable information for each of us. So
Yeah,
that's all we're asking. It doesn't cost anything. It's free.
exactly. Everybody,
Keep up the good work, Mr. Man.
thank you, doll face. Listen, if you're not doing anything this Saturday, come by Row House. We celebrate, I do that with assorted flavors the third Saturday of the month. I got the street closed off. We're about to celebrate Malika's pre-birthday. Her birthday she's a Scorpio, but I know it's Libra month. Relax yourself, Librans. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to still party. You'll see us at Row House this Saturday coming up, 1 to 8.
Mhm.
Shout out to the beautiful wedding that we had and the beautiful time we had. We was all up on them highways, 287, 95, 80. We was just all up on the highway. But it was a beautiful weekend. So shout out everybody. I hope you had a safe. Still watch your back. Be careful. Do all the things that you need to do to protect yourself. That's Real Talk. That's Malika. I'm Bill. We out of here.
And happy birthday. It just says Facebook user, but whoever's birthday is this Saturday, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, everybody.
I hope you come through so we can wish you happy birthday.
Absolutely.
Hey, Sharon Jenkins.
Yeah. Hey, Sharon. What's up, sis? See you Saturday. Chicky, what's going on?
Chicky's a Scorpio also.
Chicky, when's your birthday, sis?
Gotta let us know. I'm October 25th.
Yeah. 1025.
Yes.
Play that number. But I'm a Capricorn. Oh, sorry.
Calm down. It's not your turn.
It's coming. Exactly.
All right, everybody.
All right. We out of here. Appreciate you. She said, when is her birthday? 11/2.
Oh, good. November 2nd. All right. So right around the corner.
All right. I'll see y'all soon.
Bye.
Appreciate y'all. All right.